beforehand, just like as an offer. Like, hey, you want some sperm? I like my sperm and I want you to have it. He apparently has done this to a lot of people. And there's an article in the Daily Beast about this, and they describe it as deriving from his concern over declining birth rates. And the only reason I want to mention this story is to say, I understand that he tweets about declining birth rates. I don't think we have to assume that the reason he's going up to women at parties and offering his sperm necessarily is just about his concern about declining birth rates. When it's a guy who wanted to expose his genitals on SNL, I think maybe there's more to it than just the declining birth rates. Maybe he likes to force people into awkward sexual situations. That's kind of a kink we've seen with other people before. So anyway, he can do it. It's not illegal to offer your semen or whatever. But he's just, to me, he just strikes me as a real weirdo who wants to pull people into his sexual orbit, and he doesn't seem to care too much about whether they consent to it. That's my thought.
Amen.
Okay, well, that is unfortunately all the time we have for the show. Brett,
unless you want me to talk about sperm, but every time I do that on the show, you get mad.
Well, you tend to bring it up a lot in cases where I didn't think it had anything to do with the story. So, we're going to balance the cosmic scale by not doing it now. But thank you for filling in. Pleasure to have you on Big News Wednesday. It doesn't often happen, but thank you.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks, John. And thanks, everybody.
By the way, I should have mentioned this. I meant to, but Mena says, didn't he say he'd impregnate Taylor Swift? Yeah. Again, that's not about declining birth rates. That's a thing where he thinks he feels entitled to talk about having sex with and impregnating women. That's a kink misogyny thing. Let's stop sane washing him. But anyway, tomorrow we have a special guest who's gonna be joining us tomorrow. So very exciting. Everyone tune in for that. I'm gonna be on the second hour of the bonus episode of The Young Turks later on. So definitely join us there. For now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
Welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. Have a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day. None other than Jackson White, host, politics and paper, also editor-in-chief, Politico. Fascinating analysis as always. First story of the day. The police tase a black man for an expired tag into a coma. Let's go to body cam 1. Here it is.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the car now! Get out of the car! Don't reach in the car! Get out right here! Get down on the ground! Get down on the ground! Get down!
I will explain to you the background. Put up the picture, full mass. According to a lawsuit, California cop decided to pull his gun and tase the black man over expired tags, while the white female on the scene, who actually owned the vehicle and was thus in violation of a crime, was left unbothered. Deontay Faison, a 35-year-old black father, he has 2 children, was trying to enjoy a picnic at the park in Oakland with a friend when he was confronted by police over expired tags on the car they arrived in. The car belonged to his friend, who happens to be a white woman. But East Bay Regional Parks police officer Jonathan Nia focused his attention on Deontay. Despite having never seen him driving the car into the Martin Luther King Jr. Regional Shoreline on April 5th, according to a federal lawsuit filed earlier this month. There's more. Believing he was being unfairly targeted, Deontay Faison provided police with an alias. But when cops were unable to find that name in their system, they threatened to bring a fingerprint technician to the scene in order to properly identify and check him for warrants. Now, once again, let me remind you, he is not the owner of the vehicle. Police did not see him drive the vehicle. And now they are bringing a fingerprint technician according to the scenario. So meanwhile, the white female who actually owned the car was never questioned. A question of, do you own the vehicle, ma'am? Never happened. And her name, the car, did you own the car, and never had her name run for warrants and was never threatened with having fingerprints taken. After 20 minutes of being detained and questioned, more cops arrived. Mr. Faison panicked, especially after the officer pulled out a gun and threatened to shoot him. So he ran toward a body of water, prompting the officer to chase after him and taser him in the back. Mr. Faison fell down, but was unable to get back up and immerse himself knee deep in the water. But the officer continued to tase him, causing him to collapse face first in the water which is actually a violation of department policy. It's a violation of any department policy. According to the lawsuit, the cops then spent the next 40 minutes watching Mr. Faison struggle to remain afloat in a frigid, cold 50-degree water, doing nothing to save him. Quote, "He's not going to make it," a cop can be heard saying on the body camera. According to the lawsuit, after 40 minutes of struggling to remain afloat, 40 minutes struggling to remain afloat, Mr. Faison sank underwater, only for his unconscious body to resurface and begin floating near the opposite bank of the estuary. It was only then that police decided to pull his body out of the water, and then they called for paramedics, the lawsuit states. They also left his unconscious body on the shore for 15 minutes without ever attempting to revive him with CPR as they waited for paramedics to arrive. They did not inform paramedics that that they had tasered him repeatedly, which the lawsuit states prevented the paramedics from providing the necessary medical treatment. 6 months later, Mr. Faison is still in a coma and still hospitalized. Multiple violations from the department. One, they are trained to never deploy the taser around a body of water for a suspect. Here's why. The taser is considered to be a non-lethal device. If you're utilizing a taser, that means you have determined that the suspect you are targeting is not worthy of lethal confrontation. That's the reason you have the taser. But if you tase that suspect that you have determined to not require a lethal interaction, you thus elevate it to lethal if you deploy that taser when the suspect is around water. That is why every police department in this country is trained to never do that. They violated the policy. He struggles for his life for 40 minutes. No one attempts to save him. His body, unconscious, floats to the opposite side. They then pull him ashore and they decide not to provide any type of aid or remedy. And then on top of that, if you believed all of this was possibly just some negligence, why would they not inform the paramedics of his actual condition? According to the family, Faison's oldest son, who's also named Dante, turned 18 over the summer, graduated from high school, but his father was unable to attend the ceremony. Quote, "It's just derailed our lives, all of our lives," the younger Faison said through tears at a press conference. Quote, "I can't go to the park. I can't play basketball. It's very hard on all of us," end quote. According to the lawsuit, which lists the East Bay Regional Park District and the Alameda County Sheriff's Office as defendants, it is common knowledge that electricity and water are dangerous, a dangerous combination. Indeed, officers are trained. They should avoid using a taser when a person's position creates an increased risk of injury or when the person is located in water, mud, or marsh. This is part of the policy. It's part of their training. They avoided criminal penalty here. The officer should definitely have a criminal penalty. Right now, there's civil litigation. The civil litigation hopefully will provide an opportunity for cops to be put under oath, sworn testimony as to what happened. One instance, possible negligence. Multiple, now you have a conspiracy. It's very sad. Jackson, the man should have gone to his son's graduation. It's an expired tag of a car he did not even own, and the officer never even saw him drive the vehicle. But here we are. What say you?
One of the most common themes, if not the most common theme that you see in situations like this, are police officers just flat out panicking. I mean, like he didn't have any control over his emotional state, and even at that, even if your emotions run high, you're supposed to be in a position to control that so that you can properly assess the situation. So first and foremost, there's that. It's that these police officers are literally and legitimately afraid of black people. That really can't be argued. It can't be denied. We've seen how they handle situations, even when people are like have knives. What's the guy's name who got the Burger King after he shot up that church, and they gave him, "Oh, are you hungry?" Maybe he's hungry. They have the capacity to be thoughtful in situations like that. But also, 40 minutes in a body of water. Like who does that? Why wouldn't you bring him out of the water? Like that kind of seems like you would, oh, oops, he accidentally passed away. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And one of the first things you learn, even in grade school, is that electricity is conducted by things like water and metal. Like everybody knows this. They just flat out didn't care. And they have the authority to get away with things like that. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me about this is 40 minutes. Like, what are you doing? Like, you want this man to die. That's what you want. Because if it was your friend or your mother or cousin in a bot just floating in a body of water, oh, we'll just leave him there like that. This is absolutely ridiculous. There's nothing else to say.
And they want to be heroes, and they want people to respect them in the community as problem solvers, as heroes. Everybody would have agreed it's the right thing to do to save a human being who you are targeting because of a damn expired tag that wasn't even his, by the way. But instead of doing that, you allow this man to float inside of a body of water, not provide life-saving care, and not even inform the paramedics who arrived. And so he's in this coma until today. We will bring you updates on this case as it moves forward. All right. We do have an update on the woman that decided to call the cops because the landscapers were black. I'm going to remind you of the incident. Here it is.
She didn't want black people to mow her yard, y'all. She didn't know that she was hiring black people. My picture and everything is on the app. She didn't know she was hiring black people. I'll stay here and wait for them. I'm recording as well. Her name is Janice Gannell. She didn't know that she was hiring black people to come do her yard. We already started. Look how much we've cut already. We've already started. Did the whole left side of damn near the house. She didn't know she didn't know that she was, look at her trying to get my license plate. I already got it. Yeah, you called me a boy, right? This is wild behavior. She didn't know she was hiring black people to come cut her grass, so she threw a fit. She threw a fit in front of my two sons out here.
So sad. Put up the picture full mass here. All right. Somebody knows you, and we got you, madam. I'm sure you've been doing this a long time. Hopefully somebody cares enough about you to talk to you. More details have now emerged about what happened after the events of this video, where a black lawn care business owner recorded the moments an older white woman turned down his services in the middle of an appointment, allegedly because of his race. Now, as you can see, he's already done some work, partial performance already. So in a follow-up video at He Ain't That Funny, told viewers that a police officer did show up and talk to him and the woman. Quote, the police came, he showed up, he was pretty cool. He came and talked to me first. I explained to him what happened, and he immediately went and talked to her and got a story. He explained, okay? After the officer took down the woman's account, he returned and apologized to the business owner. Quote, he actually asked for my business card and said he would be calling me for services. The man said, adding that he's trying to build a company while working a full-time job. Quote, I didn't deserve for her to treat me like that. There is no defending her. Wrong is wrong. The business owner explained that the woman found him through a third-party app. His profile on the app shows his name, face, and a picture of his work vehicle, yet the woman hired him anyway. You're a stand-up human being, sir. You really are. You did not deserve that. Your sons did not deserve to see that. But here's the other side of it. You have provided leadership in the most appropriate way possible. Leadership not only for your sons, but leadership also for those who will see what you provided via social media. I am glad that you were able to tell a positive story about the interaction with the police officer. That is a stand-up cop who said, hand me your card, I'm going to hire you for services myself. Why? Because the police officer is limited in affecting any type of legal jurisdiction over a situation like that, unfortunately. But I do recommend you do this. You have already partially performed. I'm not sure if this woman paid you the money or not. If she has not paid you the money, your partial performance is definitely worthy of you to file a damn lien and get your money. All right? You had absolutely every right to finish that job and to get paid. Sir, if you need anything from us at Indisputable, we're here for you. All right, Jackson, very sad, businessman, working full-time, got a business on the side, showing his sons the ropes. One of the most racist people that you can imagine comes out and says, I don't want you here. I didn't know you were black, according to the allegation. What say you?
Right. She thought that his black hands was going to cause weeds to grow all in her grass or something like that. He got that reverse green thumb or something. But yeah, this is definitely, obviously, in addition to racism, this is a good example of narcissistic behavior, throwing fits when your way isn't had. I mean, that's all that was. First comes the fit, and then comes no, I don't have any accountability over my dysregulation of my own emotions. I'm going to keep on tripling down about this because there's no way I'm wrong. So that's it. And then again, as you pointed out, good on that cop. He pulled up and he was like, "Oh, this grass looks pretty good. I kind of need mine cut. I work on Sundays. I don't got time." This is just a very standard situation. And two, let me point out as well that oftentimes, it's not like what you've never seen, black people or brown people or Latinos doing construction or doing landscaping at all. Like, this is very common to see this. Like, we're not in the 40s anymore. So yeah, she another example of boredom, racism, and narcissistic fit throwing.
Yeah.
And now she's famous.
That's right. She's famous now. Yeah. And like I said, somebody knows her, and hopefully they'll talk to her. All right. You see, politics, bad politics, well, it kills people. In Texas, a mother is now dead because of the politics of Republicans. Put up the picture for a man, so I will explain. A mother in Texas has now died after the hospital said it would be a crime to intervene in her miscarriage. Josely Barnica was grieving in a hospital as she found out the sibling she was hoping to give her daughter would not survive her pregnancy. The fetus was on the verge of coming out. Its head pressed against her dilated cervix. She was 17 weeks pregnant, and a miscarriage was, quote, in progress. That's according to the notes in the doctor's own record. A miscarriage was in progress. At that point, they should have offered to speed up the delivery or empty her uterus to stave off a deadly infection. More than a dozen medical experts told this to ProPublica. But when Barnica's husband rushed to her side from his job on a construction site, she relayed what she said the medical team told her. Quote, they had to wait until there was no heartbeat. He told ProPublica in Spanish, it would be a crime to give her an abortion. So for 40 hours, the anguished 28-year-old mother prayed for doctors to help her get home to her daughter, all the while her uterus remained exposed to bacteria. 3 days after she delivered, She died. Died of what? An infection, as noted by the record. There it is. Institute of Forensic Sciences, Harris County. You see, Barnica is one of at least 2 Texas women, I believe there are more, who ProPublica found lost their lives after doctors delayed treating miscarriages, which fall into a gray area under the state's strict abortion laws that prohibit doctors from ending the heartbeat of a fetus. Now, I can go back and forth with anyone about what a heartbeat is and what it is not, what a pulse or a rhythm is, what it is not. What is clear in the record is that it was the determination of the medical staff, including the head doctor, that this is in fact a miscarriage. There's no viability. Neither had wanted the abortion, but that didn't matter. Though proponents insist that the laws protect both life, the life of the fetus and the person carrying it, in practice, doctors have hesitated to provide care under threat of prosecution, prison time, and professional ruin. This is your politics at play. Her death was preventable, according to more than a dozen medical experts who reviewed a summary of her hospital and autopsy records at the publication's request. They called her case, quote, horrific, astounding, and egregious. Let me give you a reminder. Texas saw a dramatic rise in maternal mortality rate in the wake of the abortion ban. We reported on this right here at Indisputable. We talked about these numbers in detail. We provided the cause and effect, the correlation and causation that creates the increased level of actual deaths in Texas and frankly other states who have embraced an ideology rather than life. This is a sad state of affairs. The blood of the individuals who die under these laws on the hands of those who decided to champion them. All right, dear brother, what are your thoughts?
Well, first, I want to say this is largely why Kamala's winning and why she's going to win. But also, before we get more into that in terms of early vote data and early voter surveys, you know, this really is something that the American people don't want, even Republican voters. You take a look at Ohio, Kansas, whenever something like this is on the ballot, a referendum to protect abortion rights, people come out in droves and they vote to protect abortion rights. That's actually on a ballot initiative here in Missouri, where I'm at, to protect abortion rights. And the Supreme Court of Missouri, well, some politician, I can't remember his name exactly, but they tried to get that off the ballot because they see when people have an option to protect abortion rights, they typically do. But luckily, the higher federal court knocked it down and it's still on the ballot. People don't want this. And ever since the Dobbs decision in 2022, not only have Democrats been winning elections, but they've been greatly overperforming in the polls. Early voter data is looking at a huge swath of women coming out, and the surveys are showing that Trump ain't got the Republicans, and a good 5-10% of don't have independents, rather. And a good 5 to 10% of Republicans are, in fact, casting their votes for Kamala. So, in addition to other things, this is just an endlessly losing issue for Republicans because there's no real good way they can discuss this. Trump and this is what everybody wanted for 52 years. Like, you can't really convince people of that. Like, this isn't what people wanted. And then anytime, like JD Vance or another Republican are like, well, we have to earn back Americans' trust. What are you talking about? This was settled in 1973, and right. Stories like this are continuing to pile up to show that women are dying. People are suffering because of these decisions. So the reversal of Roe was easily one of the biggest political mistakes of modern times. Obviously, we still got to get out and vote. Progressives need to get more involved in local elections. We got to play our part even heavier. But it's just tragic story after tragic story. And these Republican politicians don't care. Even though it's costing them elections, they don't care. So I guess that's good for them. But we really, really got to mobilize and make sure that we take our rights back because they don't want us to have them.
That's right. And this is how they chisel away. They start with an idea. They test it in a particular state. It then becomes regional, and all of a sudden it becomes a national law. And that is where they are headed if they regain power. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
You're about to watch some behind-the-scenes footage of the Young Turks. Ooh. Now, these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member. Go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind-the-scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like. tyt.com/join, and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey. Hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitsing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny. Bye. I said it was live stream,
But I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members.
Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent.
Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Jenk. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Such a big fan.
Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, aka Woke Bay.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
And this is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. Referred to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT? Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing.
Oh, that was disastrous.
This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
Indisputable is still the fastest growing news show in America compared to CNN, Fox News, and 30 other networks. We tell the truth on Indisputable because the truth is indisputable. We go places that other news media outlets refuse to go. When there were human rights abuses happening at the Victorville prison, guards and members of the community contacted us.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
It really doesn't take much to be a trusted voice. All it takes is to be fearless, report on matters, be an advocate. I called it the bullpen intentionally because it's a place of preparation. We present individuals who may have an opposing view, so we debate. Sometimes we interview individuals because their stories deserve to be heard. A survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier, and to remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. We take time on this show to showcase the temper tantrums of Karens in the wild. We do this not because we want to see people's emotional outbursts in public, but because these incidents are emblematic of a bigger societal issue taking place across the nation, and it has to be checked.
My friend, my big homie, attorney at law, Benjamin Crump.
I just want to thank you, man. Educated, articulate brothers like yourself speak truth to power. It makes a great difference in changing the landscape in America. So
listen, no matter what you do, don't allow the politics of ideology to evaporate the soul that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reformed, so I won't stop. You won't stop either. All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. A lot of show left. Let me read some of these amazing comments. Brett Campbell, AKA Dragging My Ass, talking about the Black father. They tased him near a large body of water that he could fall into. That's irresponsibly insane. That's correct. and over 9,000 into the dragon. There needs to be legal ramifications for the legislators who pass laws that directly destroy lives, just like weapons or drug manufacturers. That's right. But, you know, they have a built-in immunity that they gave themselves many years ago. Tony Lamarot. They are not supposed to use a tase on a wet person. They know better than that. They do, actually, in the training, specific policy. Also, Vincent Morales, talking about the black landscapers. Most of the work was already done. That's right. That's right. Jamal G, the Pharrell Dragon. Oh, she knew. She wanted to play stupid. And David Harris, they are under threat of jail if they intervene in the miscarriage. What you are talking about is considered an abortion. That's why so many women are leaving Texas to get help. Yeah, that's true. And Twitch. Jack or Dragon 1991. So instead of waiting until he goes home and just catching him at home, you decided to chase him into a river. And the thing is, it wasn't even his vehicle, right? And so the person that's in violation of improper tags is the owner of the vehicle. The operator of the vehicle typically would get a ticket, if that, but the owner of the vehicle will get a letter in the mail to go to court. That's how it's typically worked out, because the owner was not present during the stop or the interaction. Okay, got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
You're still free! Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Well, give me the keys. Just come back around to the front.
What?
Come back around to the front.
No, you come up and make them work. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
Here. She need to stop drinking.
You know how this works? We get our money back.
Oh my God.
Well, what do you want to do? You want to go to your room you can't get into? That you paid $2,100 for? Is that what you want? Do you? No, you don't. No.
Now start locking your keys up in your room. That's what you did.
You what?
You went up in your room. I just made you 2 keys.
No, she made me 2 keys and they don't work.
Because you don't know what you're doing.
And my key I had doesn't work. So would you go up with me and make it
I ain't
work?
gonna understand.
Oh, I see what this is about. Okay, I see. If you go back to the beginning of the video, she's asking the same question. You come on up here. And that's when he had to close the door, because she wanted him to come up to the room. And then when he tries to inform her, man, you need to stop locking your keys inside of your room, just made you 2 keys. She said, well, why don't you just come on up here then? And as a wise, older black male, understanding the ropes, he said, I ain't going up there. Here's more.
Yeah, we're not allowed to go to your room, man.
But you can go up there and make sure it works, right?
It's gonna work. Just go get you some rest, okay? It's gonna work. Go ahead and go up there and get you some rest.
Where's Princess?
I think she's off today.
Well, I hope she works.
This lady just give it up the problem. I made keys for her room. I don't know what else she wants. I told her.
I've been up there twice. Doesn't work.
Room.
The keys didn't work.
Let's put up this picture full mass here. Now, Miss Karen, if I can call you Miss Karen, according to that outfit, you're still in party mode. All right, Jackson.
Yeah, that outfit.
Yeah, thoughts here.
Yeah, that's that type of outfit she got on right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She wild. Hey, but she got that drip though, all white. I can't even hate on it. And first, before I get into it, I want to say $2,100 that she said for her room. I don't know how many days she's staying there, but shout out to Airbnb, because hotels are just completely overpriced. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, clearly she had been drinking. I don't, alcohol can bring out who you really are. Sometimes it can make you a little rowdy, but maybe not rude necessarily. I've been pretty drunk in my time, and I don't recall that I've ever been very rude off of it. Maybe not, but Yeah, I think she just had a little bit too much to drink. She was slurring her words. And like you said, she was still in party mode. So maybe she just left the club a little bit too early and needed to let that alcohol wear off a little bit or something.
Right. Well, she was just trying to invite people up to have them, keep the party going.
Yeah, that's all it was. That's all it was. It came from a good place.
That's right. Exactly. All right. Well, finally happened. So CNN, Scott Jennings slammed over Trump's Project 2025 agenda. Here it is.
I was sort of taken aback by the absolute full-on attack on Trump. We've heard it all before. It sounded a little frantic to me, to be honest, this close to the end of the election. I took a few notes. Again, they're still pushing the lie about Project 2025. It doesn't matter how many times she says it. Donald Trump did not write it. He has disavowed it. This is not his agenda. He has his own campaign agenda. It is not Project 2025.
No, it's Agenda 47, which is exactly the same as Project 2025. And you can say that as many times as you want, Scott, but it's not true. So just to stay here and say, I've said this a million times and it's not his plan. His plans are, that's a very smug way to look at me, my friend. The thing is that what we're doing is we're talking about what she's planning for us. And you're saying 100,000 people, psh, she could draw that anywhere if it was in Washington, D.C. You're totally overlooking what she has done here. She's brought together 100,000 people to say, I look forward to the future. I will be a president for everyone and not just a president for the people that I like.
Put up the smug look she was talking about there. All right. Yeah. That's the kind of look that'll make you upset on any panel right there. So I understand. Social media influencer, leave me going. Snapped at CNN senior political commentator Scott Jennings. I have no idea how this guy still has a job at CNN. On Tuesday, for looking at her in a very smug way, she took issue with Jennings saying, quote, they're still pushing the lie about Project 2025. It doesn't matter how many times she says it. Donald Trump did not write it. He has disavowed it. This is not his agenda. He has his own campaign agenda. It is not Project 2025. And then she interrupted and said, no, it's Agenda 47, which is exactly the same as Project 2025. And you can say that as many times as you want, Scott, but it's not true. Fact check quickly. She's right. He's wrong. Okay. Now, Donald Trump insists that Project 2025, a nearly 1,000-page blueprint for a hard right turn in American government and society, does not reflect his priorities for a White House encore. Yet from economics, immigration, and education policy to civil rights and foreign affairs, there are common ideas and shared ideology between Project 2025 and Trump's outline for another term. From his official Agenda 47 slate, the Republican platform he personally approved and his other statements. So this was not the first time that Jennings has been disrespectful to a fellow panelist. Remember this?
Why are we letting Walls off the hook here? I mean,
I just played the bite. I mean,
but like this idea. No, I'm just. He said occasionally I'll be a knucklehead. I mean, knucklehead is a euphemism for a damn liar.
The kind of quote knucklehead, and we can take it to mean what Scott says, is qualitatively different than a person who is deliberately deploying lies to create false narratives that hurt other people, that have a destructive impact upon the nation, and that he refuses to be held accountable for. I'm just curious if Madison and Scott are disturbed by any lies that Donald Trump is telling. You've done an analysis of Walls. Are there any lies that Donald Trump tells that you are disturbed by?
I don't want any politician to lie ever. I wish they would all tell the truth all the time.
That was a Kamala Harris ovation. What is a lie that Donald Trump
look, first of all, I don't answer to you, and I don't answer to you. That's number one. Number two, it is my sincere. Well, I don't answer to these two guys. It's my sincerest hope that all politicians do the best job.
Wow, fascinating. He's an actual paid commentator who does not want to commentate. Fascinating stuff here. Still has a job at CNN, invading people's personal space. That seemed to be threatening. I think, Doc, you need to pull a Karen on them. Send a letter to HR. You fear your life. It's very aggressive what he did there. I promise if you would have done that, Doc, that's exactly what he would have said about you. All right. Jennings previously used the same language on air when pushing back against CNN commentator. Ana Navarro, who posed a question to him whether comments made by Trump were racist. Quote, "I'm not going to sit here and answer for somebody." End quote. And I don't answer to you either.
What you here for?
In 2019, Jennings snapped at a fellow panelist during a discussion of then Virginia Governor Ralph Northam, Democrat, saying, quote, "Don't interrupt me." In 2022, Jennings blew up again when Democratic strategist Jim Messina accused him of reading Republican talking points. Quote, "Do you have a single friend? You're an absolute jerk." End quote. Jennings responded, "I don't even know you, and you come out here and insulted me." In March, he referred to Representative Omar as, quote, "a public relations agent for Hamas," language he referred to as blatant Islamophobia and racism. In the past several months, Jennings has said the Democratic Party is awash in anti-Semitism, is usually burning American flags and doesn't care about political violence. Now, I get CNN, there's a point where I get it, and then there's a point where I absolutely do not. This individual is not presenting a nuanced argument. He doesn't balance out the stage. He's not someone who provides a balancing of the various political views. He's in a cult. And he's representing the position of a cult leader. And instead of answering the questions as everyone else on the panel is required to do per their contract to CNN, he gets to tell people, "I don't have to answer a damn thing." Sir, you are literally on staff. You're not a guest. You literally get a check to answer questions. What kind of privilege is this? Never seen it before in my life, Jackson. The man actually gets a check to answer questions and provide a point of view on behalf of a particular individual, movement, party, whatever it may be. And when he doesn't like the question, he just says, "I don't have to answer that."
Well, that's very Trumpian, you know what I mean? Like when when Trump did his 60 Minutes interview in 2020, he's like, "I think we're done here. I think we have enough of an interview," because he was getting asked some real questions or whatever. But first, I got to say, CNN, they're so bad. They have been so bad this election cycle. Their conversations are empty, unnecessary, and they always dance around the fact that Donald Trump is a lunatic. He's insane. He's a moron. Everything he says is a lie. I mean, this dude will come in with this on and be like, "I've got on a red sweater right now," and then we have to pretend like this is normal. Donald Trump largely is where he is because the media treats him like he's a normal person. You know, Kamala was just doing an interview with ABC and she was asked something about Project 2025, and the interviewer was like, "Well, Trump said that he doesn't have anything to do with it." And Kamala was like, "Yeah, Trump says a lot of things." You know, so right. but it's, yeah, Scott Jennings did that because they don't have anything to say. You know, it's like, "Oh, Kamala cackles, she laughs too much." Because objectively now, if Kamala was running against a more normal human being, then these conversations might make some sense. But you can't say, "Oh, Tim Walz, a knucklehead, means you're an abject liar," but Donald Trump isn't. It's just, what are we even talking about here? That's why, I mean, we're all ready for the election to be over. And, you know, things keep going well, then Trump's not going to win. If things keep going the way they're going. But it's just like the Republican Party, where's your credibility? Moving forward, where's your credibility? How can you pretend like you care about anything? Because it's a cult. You pointed it out just right. This is a cult. That's all it is.
And those who support it are obviously antithetical to democracy. I cannot believe any longer that anyone who supports Trump is actually pro-democracy. Just cannot believe that. And at this point in the game, for the Republicans who are actual Republicans, you have to make a decision to save your party for the future, because it actually, in an ironic way, having a strong, sensible, hopefully nuanced in ideas Republican Party may actually help Democrats compete in a more authentic way for the votes inside of the United States of America. Because right now, due to the insanity being given by the conservatives in this country, Democrats, well, they get to basically get away with anything and say, "Well, what you going to do about it? Vote for that guy?" All right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. Indisputable is still the fastest growing news show in America compared to CNN, Fox News, and 30 other networks. We tell the truth on Indisputable because the truth is indisputable. We go places that other news media outlets refuse to go. When there were human rights abuses happening at the Victorville prison, guards and members of the community contacted us.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
It really doesn't take much to be a trusted voice. All it takes is to be fearless, report on matters, be an advocate. I called it the bullpen intentionally because it's a place of preparation. We present individuals who may have an opposing view, so we debate. Sometimes we interview individuals because their stories deserve to be heard. A survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier and to remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. We take time on this show to showcase the temper tantrums of Karens in the wild. We do this not because we want to see people's emotional outbursts in public, but because these incidents are emblematic of a bigger societal issue taking place across the nation, and it has to be checked.
My friend, my big homie, attorney at law, Benjamin Crump.
I just want to thank you, man. Educated, articulate brothers like yourself speak truth to power. It makes a great difference in changing the landscape in America. So
listen, no matter what you do, don't allow the politics of ideology to evaporate the soul that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reform, so I won't stop. You won't stop either.
All I ask of you going forward is keep fighting forward, okay? But we don't fight with arms and physical and any of that, right? We fight with love, we fight with peace, we fight with hope and belief and faith in one another. And we do that straight with knowledge and facts and truth and things that are real. Objective reality matters. So much of our audience is scientists, teachers, engineers, data analysts, people who believe in objective reality, right? So thank you guys for believing in that. Thank you for believing in hope, and thank you for making it happen. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
I really love what y'all do on the Young Turks, man, and it's a very refreshing, voice. Y'all don't lean to one side. I tell people all the time, if you want to go really hear what's going on honestly in our society, you should tune in to the Young Turks.
Thank you, Charlemagne. We appreciate that.
That's awesome. Really appreciate it, brother.
Tell me about the shirt you're wearing.
Pretty much speaks for itself. What's the penalty for treason? Death. Everything was phenomenal under Donald Trump, and now it's Obama calling the shots right now. It ain't Biden.
So it's Obama calling the shots?
I believe so. None of this would be happening if they hadn't stolen the 2020 election from Trump and we the people.
If you could have an option of 4 years of Donald Trump as a dictator or 4 years of Joe Biden as a president, what would you choose?
Donald Trump.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. We got a lot left on the agenda. Let me read some of these beautiful comments. Havar Ellis says about the Karen, all white everything, tell it all about this Karen. And then to the other Karen, yeah, Snesley_wipes. Was she fishing for a booty call? Fishing for something. And then Cascade Hermit. Agenda 47 is a hand-to-hand parallel to Project 2025. The likeness is incredibly surreal. If you held a magnifying glass up to it, you would think they were written by the same hand. There you go. That's absolutely correct. All right. Well, here we go again. Black home appraised low. This time, Rocket Mortgage on the agenda. Put it up full mass. The company has some answers they must give us. Rocket Mortgage is facing backlash after a white appraiser lowballs a black woman's Denver home by $220,000. The DOJ filed a racial discrimination suit on behalf of a black woman in Denver last week against Rocket Mortgage and two appraisal companies. The Department of Justice alleges they purposely lowballed the value of her home because of her race. Let's get into it. Francesca Shirotz originally complained about or to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in 2021 after she received an appraisal from Rocket Mortgage for her duplex home. Located in an upscale neighborhood of Denver, the home was appraised for $220,000 lower than one she'd received only 8 months earlier from Rocket. Despite a booming housing market in Denver and substantial upgrades she made to the home, the new appraisal was also $200,000 lower than an appraisal for a similar duplex property nearby with a white owner that had been done by the same appraiser who was white. HUD determined there was, quote, reasonable cause to determine that the new appraisal was discriminatory and had violated the Federal Fair Housing Act and referred her complaint to the Justice Department. She claims in the lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court of the District of Colorado on Monday that she was looking to take advantage of historically low mortgage rates to refinance the home she'd owned and lived in since 2011 when appraised by Maxim Michalina, the CEO of Maverick Appraisal Group in Denver, came to evaluate the property January 2021. She said she made a note of a Black Lives Matter sign in her front yard and briefly talked to her about her college-age daughter, both of whom were Black, while inspecting the unit they lived in. So the woman said this appraiser showed no interest in her efforts to inform him about the $200,000 in improvements she made to the property since the prior appraisal, including adding new gutters, doors, installing new granite countertops in the kitchen, and painting and updating bathrooms. He did not take any notes about the upgrades, which were not reflected in the appraisal he submitted the next day to solidify. The appraisal management company hired by Rocket Mortgage, the lender. The new appraisal valued her home at $640,000, $220,000 less than the appraisal done in May of 2020. Surprised by the steep drop in her appraisal value, she contacted Rocket Mortgage to complain and requested a new appraisal. She told a loan officer she believed the appraiser had undervalued her property because of her race. She recounted the man's unfriendly, disinterested manner during the site inspection and said she regretted being in the house during the inspection because the inspector was able to see that it was owned by a Black person. We'll get into the cause and effect of that in a moment. Because Rocket canceled her refinance application, her complaint says she was unable to obtain a refinance mortgage loan that would have had a lower interest rate, a shorter term, lower monthly payments. Afraid she would continue to be discriminated against by a different mortgage company if she tried to refinance, she obtained a variable rate home equity line of credit instead, which, with terms that are less favorable, okay, financially. The experience with the appraiser solidifying Rocket caused the homeowner to suffer financial harm, emotional distress, and humiliation, the lawsuit claims. She seeks a jury trial and unspecified monetary damages that will, quote, restore her to the position she should have been in, but for the discriminatory conduct, and for the court to order the defendants from engaging in discrimination on the basis of race or color in future real estate, estate-related transactions. The latter is actually already part of federal law. So she's basically asking the judge to issue an order that's already a law. That's easy. The first part, to restore her to where she should be, is very kind of her because the suit is not requiring nor requesting punitive in this. This is a very fair suit. As a matter of fact, I would argue too damn fair for the egregious behavior alleged in this case. But let's go back to some of the other cases we have covered that are similar. We have covered stories right here at Indisputable where a family, Black family, they get appraised very low. They decide to then take out everything in the house that could identify that the family is Black. One family decided to bring in their white friends in order to assume the role of the owner. What happened each time? Each time, the appraised value went up, and it went up significantly. We're not talking about a $5,000 to $10,000 range here. We're talking about a lot of money. This is why it's important. 99% of all of us in this country, the biggest investment we will ever make in our lives is a home. The largest investment we will ever make is a home. And that home creates some level of equity as well as surety if there's a bump in the road, whatever it may be. You have some options here. But when you take those options away, you're literally taking money away from us. And once again, the inequity doesn't start with the outcome. It starts with the person who was supposed to do right by you. And that's where the inequity always starts. And so when we talk about equitable outcomes, we're not just talking about outcomes, we're talking about correcting the systems that are prerequisites to the inequity. All right, dear brother, we've seen this multiple times. This woman has not only a valid claim, the claim is so valid that every single federal agency from HUD to the DOJ agreed this is an egregious error and it needs to be corrected. What say you?
One of the things that you point out frequently is how powerful culture is.
Yeah.
And, you know, how this is a good example into how a lot of our decisions are made before they even bubble up into the conscious mind based on what we believe. You know, like they just kind of rolled their eyes at this woman because there's no way this house is worth that much, or she shouldn't be profiting this much off of the house, or, oh, here we go, another one of them thinking that they can, you know, so much to the point that, as you pointed out, the federal government was like, no, I don't know about this. And how much pride is involved that they couldn't give her a fair appraisal. And also, this really goes to show the importance of who you hire. Obviously, culture starts first, but who do you have in place to make these types of decisions? Because now Rocket Money's, you know, all nationally, all over the news for stuff like this. When in reality, they're just being unfair to her. So this is why we got to keep on fighting, because culture comes before everything else.
That's right. Well said. We'll bring you updates as they come. Okay, Nashville Electric Service is accused of abusing Black workers. Put it up full mass. Hello story. 3 Black employees who filed separate federal rights lawsuits accusing NES, Nashville Electric Service, of racial discrimination in its employment practices, including managers who allegedly hurled racial slurs and denied promotions to Black employees in favor of white workers, have confidentially settled with the utility company, reported the Tennessean. Let me give you some background. Electrician Walter E. Clark III was a 22-year employee of NES. When he sued the company in the U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Tennessee, in January 2023, describing a racially hostile work environment where Black employees were called lazy N-words, boy, and suffered ongoing harassment and bullying from supervisors and coworkers because of their race. His complaint recounts an episode in June of 2020 when a white foreman allegedly told him, quote, "I tell you how to train that son of a B word. Put a white sheet over your head and go out there and beat the out of him until he hates all white people," end quote. Clark also heard or was made aware of other racist epithets and slurs from coworkers, including, quote, "Need to have slaves again to make America great again, MAGA," none of which were addressed by management when Black employees complained, he alleges. He and plaintiff Jimmy Hunt described their revulsion at learning about nooses found in their workplace twice during their employment. Black employees were, quote, "deeply affected and disturbed by the racist hate symbols," according to Hunt, who was tasked with removing the noose from an employee-only smoke area on NES property on one such occasion. Management at NES failed to take corrective action in response to the noose episodes, nor did they adequately respond in January of 2023 when an operations manager, Ty Jones, changed his email profile to a not equal symbol, the use of which Hunt's complaint noted has been accepted by some white supremacists and which the Anti-Defamation League describes, quote, as an attempt to claim that different races are not equal to each other and to apply that whites are superior to Blacks. It's a symbol, it's a code. Black workers were also systematically passed over for promotions and raises because of their race. All three plaintiffs claim in their lawsuit. Once again, these are separate lawsuits. Clark was denied promotions for jobs he applied for, which he contends were given to less experienced, less qualified white employees on multiple occasions. In 2021, while applying for a foreman position, he said the performance appraisal system was manipulated by his white supervisors to give a newer white employee in his department a higher grade. Hunt, 58, who worked for NES for 25 years, when he filed his complaint earlier this year, described a similar pattern of unfair and discriminatory practices to prevent Black employees from obtaining promotions and raises. Among the discriminatory tactics, he said NES supervisors used to do that included changing tests administered to Black applicants and job descriptions in such a way to intentionally exclude Black candidates. The manipulation of inequity begins here. Hunt, a foreman who was the company's only Black safety supervisor, applied for a promotion to safety and employee development manager position 5 times, but was never hired. Less qualified white employees were repeatedly given the position instead. Hunt argues that the job description for that position was altered to require an engineering degree to prevent him from getting the job. He was deemed ineligible for the position, even though he had performed the additional job duties of that position for 2 years with no additional compensation before it was given to a white employee, his complaint asserts. In their legal answers to the complaint, NES, Nashville Electric Service, denied all of the allegations of racial discrimination, harassment, and racially hostile workplace conditions. It chalked up the alleged treatment of Black employees and losing promotions to white candidates to the fact that, quote, more qualified candidates were chosen. NES admitted, quote, that a noose is a disturbing symbol for most people and that NES prohibits the display of such symbols in the workplace, end quote. Put up the president and CEO. There you go. NES president and CEO, her name is Teresa Appling, said in a statement last year, quote, NES does not condone or tolerate discrimination of any type, adding that NES embraces diversity, equity, and inclusion. And our goal is to foster a work environment in which all of our employees feel welcome, safe, and appreciated. The company said its action was always based on legitimate, non-discriminatory business-related reasons undertaken in good faith. Oh, I get it. Okay. All right. So naturally, the claims are egregious, heartbreaking. These individuals have relevant claims according to what has now happened. Okay. And it's interesting to me that multiple employees can say this is happening and this is wrong, and for the CEO to say, no, that never happened. No. That never took place. Did you investigate? That's not part of your statement. Did you thoroughly investigate the matter? Or did you just create a talking point based on the response of media inquiry? Because I don't see an investigation at all here. I don't see you creating a training dynamic moving forward. Being sensitive to the Black worker seems to elude you. I damn sure believe that what they have said is 100% true based on the insensitive nature of your response alone. All right, Jackson, thoughts here.
Yeah, they kind of responded to it as if it's ridiculous to think that racism could possibly exist within their structure. And, it's not like any of this is new, but, that's kind of a reflection of what we're living in right now in terms of don't believe your lying eyes. Like Donald Trump can go on stage and talk about Haitians eating people's cats and dogs. JD Vance going around talking about that. Oh, it's not racist. It's just the truth. The guy, whatever that comedian's name was at the Madison Square Garden, talking about floating island of garbage. Oh, he's just a joke. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. This definitely has an impact on how people handle their business. And a lot of these people, well, lo and behold, guess who they're voting for? If their beliefs are along those lines. So I thought that it was just silly for them to pretend like, oh, of course a noose is offensive to pretty much anybody. Why would anyone post something like that? Why would anybody do anything like that? So they're just caught red-handed, and they're not going to do anything about it unless they're forced to. And that's pretty much what they're signaling.
That's correct. And they are being forced to on some levels. I do believe there are other discriminatory dynamics associated with this company, and we will likely be updating those as well when they come. All right. Well, Steve Bannon out of prison just in time to be possibly appointed by Donald Trump if he wins. That's why he cannot. All right. I'll put him up full mask. He was teaching civics in prison. They allowed him to teach a class on civics. Steve Bannon released from FCI Danbury yesterday, where he was allegedly teaching civics while incarcerated. He was sentenced to 4 months for contempt of Congress in 2022 for refusing to comply with subpoenas from the House committee during a Jan 6th investigation. Okay. Most of the students in his class were MAGA Trump supporters. He has taught his class every Tuesday this fall, sometimes employing the Socratic method to a crowd of roughly 50 fellow prisoners at the suburban Connecticut prison. Multiple sources told the outlet, quote, "Everything you need to know about business and politics can be learned from Godfather 1 and Godfather 2, Bannon told his class, according to the report. Quote, "Watching Fox is like watching professional wrestling," Bannon said, telling the inmates how much he hated the Murdoch family. They want you to focus on phony things, the shiny toys. Bannon, who is released Tuesday, told the class that the nation's founders had drafted the U.S. Constitution to guard against tyranny, but the report states that many inmates were attracted to the idea of a king as the, quote, only way to get things done. That would be called a dictator today. Although the Capitol rioters disagreed, much to Bannon's surprise, wasn't what you were trying to do on Jan 6? Bannon asked, but didn't mention his own role that day to make Trump king. No, the MA said, saying that he believed Trump's claims about a stolen election. I was there to protest the lack of an investigation. Bannon led discussions about immigration and apologetically switched to the term illegal immigrants when an inmate objected to him using the term illegal aliens. They're better than you, Bannon. And he attempted to console an inmate who was unable to answer whether he was better off with Trump as president because he was selling drugs at the time. Trump's 34 felony convictions have taken him have taken some of the sting out of being a felon, being Bannon told the man.
This cartoon, man.
I mean, and you know Bannon was getting paid commissary. You know he was making them guys give him commissary every week just to teach that class. That's Bannon's way, man. Bannon stole money from elderly people, said he was going to build a wall because Trump couldn't, and then funneled the money to another country and back to his damn self the whole time. All right, dear brother, thoughts here?
Hey, you know, that's what this has always been about at the end of the day. It's just a big swindle and a big con.
Right.
The state of Oklahoma is selling $3 million worth of Trump Bibles to be in the schools. It's in the contracts. Like that's just so emblematic of what all of this is. Steve Bannon has never hid the fact that it's all about racism for him. We got to make this country more white. Well, good luck with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really know what you're going to do about that. And it's antithetical to what America is in the first place. This has always been a place of immigrants, whether it was the British who came over here first, Germans coming over here, and then don't forget when Italians and the Irish first came here, they weren't white enough. You know what I'm saying? So the goalpost just continuously gets moved, and now, you know, we got like light-skinned Cubans and Puerto Ricans thinking they white. Like, no, y'all ain't white, not yet, at least. You feel me? But y'all ain't white yet. But yeah, this is just hilarious. Steve Bannon teaching a class on physics in prison where he definitely belongs.
And
this is a funny story.
It is, and once again, you know, well, he still isn't complying with the subpoena. So, all right, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
Do all of you know the Young Turks?
An outlet like yourself that are willing to cover this story from the very beginning.
You have the Young Turks and a bunch of other progressive forces saying this is the time to fight for our values.
And I think right now there are a lot of progressive voters, many leftists who feel like they don't have a home.
And this is why what Cenk and the Young Turks are doing is so important.
What we've done is sustainable, slow, healthy growth. And I think that's the way news should be, where you don't rely on sensationalist stuff. You don't lean on whatever's trendy in the news at any given moment. You know, you just go with the truth.
You gave me a platform.
You've uplifted so many other progressive voices through this network, and you're constantly looking for people that you can amplify through the work we do, through the infrastructure that you built at TYT.
It takes those early people who believe that can really be the seeds of this movement, and that has been the Young Turks.
We're super serious about the news. We also managed to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We're not TYT, you're TYT.
Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one.
Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children? Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
At TYT, we depend on our audience to help us deliver the news and try to fight for positive change. We've been doing that for 22 years because of you guys. So now, because of our new campaign, there's some awesome perks that come along with supporting the Young Turks and to get us through this storm. That's why, for example, one of the perks is the Riders in the Storm t-shirt. There's other fun things like me leaving a voicemail for you guys. And then there's bigger ones where you could name items in the office or the studio. Some of you have already done that, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Tracy Rager named Anna's gavel Charlie Rules after her dog. That's so sweet. Thank you, Tracy. Jeffrey Manzer named my studio light. I look so pretty now because of Jeffrey, but that's what I love. That's how connected we are to our audience. That's why we're one of the few digital media companies that have survived so far. So if you want to help, go to tyt.com/perks. And you really are part of our team when you come and help, because we can't do this without you guys. But with you guys, we are too strong. TYT is thankful for all the support we've received from our audience. I know that we're all living through a dark time. The economy is a mess, the two-party system is failing us, and the threat of climate change is growing. I started this company in my apartment, and look where we are today. I've experienced what we can accomplish when we work together. So let's keep working towards positive change. Join our community at tyt.com/team.
All right, I'm gonna tell you about my travel schedule. It's crazy. I'm going to Arizona first, then Nevada, then Wisconsin, and then Michigan, and then Pennsylvania. And then I'm gonna head down and go to Georgia and North Carolina, and I'm gonna do it all in one day. You know what day? November 5th. We're all gonna do it together. Come travel to those states with me, and let's find out which way America goes. Election day on the Young Turks. Don't miss it.
Who's gonna win?
I have no idea.
I mean, for real, if you had to put $200 on it.
No idea.
All right, welcome back. Lot of show left. Let me read some of the beautiful comments. Greatly appreciative of everyone who joins the show. Okay. Yep. Deck says, Doc, will Shelley Winter ever be invited back to the bullpen after his recent antics? I got to keep it 100. I got to keep it 100. We invited him immediately on the show after his recent antics on CNN. And he said, yes, that was a Friday. And then we rescheduled because he had a last minute thing. We rescheduled him, I think, to that Monday. He rescheduled again. As a matter of fact, I think he just canceled and has not been rescheduled. So we tried to get him twice right after that, you know.
Talking about the pagers, that dude.
Who?
That dude who's talking about the pagers with Mehdi?
No, Shelley Winter, who is he's a somewhat frequent guest. Actually, a friend of mine. He's a Black Republican. He went on CNN. They let him go on TV on CNN every few years just so he can remind them why he doesn't get invited back typically. And he wanted to refer to this election coming down to House Negroes versus field Negroes. And naturally, that didn't go over well with the Black people who were at the set of CNN. So we tried to get him on here to answer for himself. We'll give him a fair opportunity to provide a defense, but he canceled both times. So just know
maybe he'll let more time go by, and everybody.
Right. No matter how much time he lets go by, he's getting that damn question when he comes back on this show. Period. All right. Over 9,000 enter the Dragon. The way that appraiser did his job, guarantee it's not the first time he intentionally undervalued because of race. And remember, in the narrative, she said, I noticed he made notice of the Black Lives Matter sign outside. Now that's your first hint right there. Okay. So yeah, you're right. I believe that there's probably a systemic pattern. And Nashville. All right. Adriana Patterson, without a degree, he showed his expertise for 2 years, but now he is a qualified. Sounds about YT. And remember, a lot of times they will provide that engineering degree or equivalent experience required. That's it. Engineering degree or equivalent experience required. Sister Soul gifted an indisputable membership. Thank you so much, Sister Soul. We'll greatly appreciate it. And to Mad Native Dragon. State Farm is also racist. They offered me only $25,000 to repair my home after water damage. My home has been completely gutted. The amount would only cover one bathroom in my area. I have been fighting them for 2 years. Sorry to hear that. And Fascist Killer says, damn, it's one thing to lowball a house when you're talking about tens of thousands, which is messed up unto itself. But 200,000, it's almost a third to a half of the cost of the house, depending on where it is. That's right. And then C Prince, Reborn Dragon, laughing my effing A off. Jackson is exactly correct. Those light-skinned Cubans think they're white as well. They had a lot of others. We need more coalition. Coalition is how we win, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we win, coalition. Okay, well, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, gubernatorial candidate, said child abuse victims grow up to become monsters. All right, here it is.
We keep twisting these children's minds up, allowing these children to be both undercover and in our faces. And those children are going to grow up to be absolute monsters. They are going to be monsters that are going to do unspeakable things.
Well, I'll put him at full mass here. So statistically, he's incorrect as far as the majority. And does abuse sometimes beget abuse? The answer is yes. Is it the majority of the protocol? The answer is no. The majority of individuals turn that energy around and become advocates for the safety of children moving forward. But it is ironic. I think this is basically a pivot. We're going to keep his picture up. I think this is a pivot by him due to the reporting that took place last week and the week before last, where it was exposed by CNN Investigates and others that he has a prolific porn habit. And he also prefers transsexuals in his pornography, according to the report. And then workers at a sex video shop came forward and said he was there virtually every time they were open. And so much so that he would bring pizza to the staff and go inside of private rooms and do his deeds, according to the report. At a particular time, he was set to possibly resign from the race. Many are calling for him to step out of the race, but he has decided to deny that it is him. And I think his screen name was like Little Soldier or something like that. We can fact check that in just a moment. All right. But that's the guy. Okay. Nothing wrong with whatever his adult fantasies may be. He's a grown person. It's just hypocritical that he takes an adversarial stand to something that he's part of himself in the community. All right, for no clear reason, North Carolina Republican gubernatorial nominee Mark Robinson filmed himself in December 2018 saying that children who are violated will grow up to become monsters and we're going to do unspeakable things. He posted this video on Facebook and now it is still there. 1 week before North Carolina voters will decide they want this guy to be their next governor. Now remember, he's already the lieutenant governor. Okay, that's already bad enough. He's threatened violence against those that are in same-sex relationships, etc. Robinson, who is currently the state's lieutenant governor, made his comments during a meandering 20-minute tirade about people needing to choose to either follow Jesus Christ or a homosexual lifestyle, which he then decided to tie to pedophilia. Robinson's campaign did not respond to a request for comment on why he filmed himself saying something as offensive as this at all. And why is the video still posted while he's running for governor? Robinson had a years-long record of making vile statements in public. Long before CNN, the CNN Investigates report dropped, the state GOP would have already known about his long record of making sexist, racist, Islamophobic, anti-LGBTQ+, and otherwise gross comments well before he launched his run for governor. And guess what Donald Trump says about the guy? Trump says he's better than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Yes, that's what Trump said. Trump said he's better than Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Better. North Carolina Republican lost virtually all of his party support after a CNN story last month revealed disturbing comments he made on a porn forum. Robinson referred to himself as Black Nazi and described being sexually aroused by spying on women in public showers. He also gushed about pornography featuring transgender people, a sharp contrast to the ugly transphobic rhetoric he uses as a gubernatorial candidate. Even Donald Trump, who has long been an ally to Robinson, wants nothing to do with him now. despite previously endorsing Robinson and hailing him as Martin Luther King on steroids. When he was asked last week if he'd still urge North Carolina voters to vote for him for governor, Trump said only, I'm not familiar with the state of the race right now. Prior to the CNN report, Robinson was already lagging in his race against Democrat Josh Stein, who is currently the state's attorney general. But his support has since plummeted to new lows, and virtually all of the staff on his campaign in his office resigned. MAGA. I thought y'all stuck together. I mean, everybody knows that everybody in the MAGA political circle is lying. Donald Trump lies. Marjorie Taylor Greene lies. Matt Gaetz lies. But when you lie, sir, you lose all of your support. I promise you, what you have been accused of doing, sir, is nowhere near what Donald Trump has been convicted of doing. But you have lost all of your support while Donald Trump still has all of his MAGA. Do you see the picture yet, dear brother? Do you understand what's happening here? Do you get it? What have you been convicted of? Nothing. Are your people supporting you? Is MAGA going out for you? Are they upholding you? Are they sticking to the lie that you told? No. I wonder why. All right, Jackson, thoughts here.
Right. I wonder why. Who knows why that might be? You know, he thought he wasn't going to be one of them ones, but it turned out that in fact he was just another scapegoat.
Right.
But Mark Robinson, he's just a gross, weird loser who gets all of his energy by like provoking people. That's kind of the simplest explanation of the type of person that he is. Because, you know, to say, oh, child abuse victims grow up to become monsters, like, why say this publicly? You know, again, as you pointed out, it's not even like it's a given, like, oh, if you were abused as a child, that means no, most people grow up and they don't, you know, embody those traits or qualities, or they work very hard so that they don't, so that they can be better. We all know people, including yourself, who grew up very rough and look at how you turned out. So for him to say this just isn't true, but again, it's not about if it's true or not, it's about that's how he gets his attention. That's how he gets his supply of emotions from people. He thrives off of like grossing people out and kind of making people feel uncomfortable. That's who he is. And it just caught up to him because, you know, don't nobody really care that you enjoy pornography. So what? But it's, as you pointed out, the hypocrisy that really makes it something, that really makes it into a story. But this guy's just a weird idiot. He's a very dumb man, and luckily it's looking like he ain't gonna become governor of North Carolina.
Yeah, Trump is a weird idiot and dumb too.
Right, exactly.
But he is the #1 contender for president for the Republicans. Isn't that ironic? Dear brother, always a pleasure to have you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you and check out your great work.
Absolutely. Always good to be here with you. You can check me out on YouTube at youtube.com/@politicsandpaper. I'm uploading videos every day. I got some new programming coming up. We got good things rolling. We all ready for this election to be over. One, so that we can just get past it. But I got a lot of, I'm be doing a lot of new stuff on the channel when it is. So again, check me out at Politics and Paper on YouTube.
Very proud of your work, dear brother, and leadership. All right. Remember, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.